Everyone. My name is Nathan Yaworski, and welcome to Training Tuesdays. I will be your host today, but as always, you have your wonderful onboarding team with you. Our fearless leader, Haley Babbage, is not here today, but she is with us in spirit. I am Nathan Yaworski, an onboarding specialist here at Vendasta, and with me is my wonderful colleague, Ali Moore. She is going to be handling the Q&A portion. As always, if you've been here before, you'll kind of know how it works. But today we are going to be covering the basics of automations and streamlining your workflows across the platform. As always, we are recording our session here. The recording will be made available on our Training Tuesday playlist on YouTube. Thank you, Ali. And you can, if you want to click that and open it in a new window, you can watch those back later. We cover all kinds of setup and training on the Vendasta platform, your AI chat receptionist, your business app, etc., billing, all that fun stuff. Questions. If you have questions, we want to hear about them. We know that we have a chat here, but it's much easier to keep those questions organized if you pop them into the Q&A section on the right-hand side of your screen. So if you pop them in there, Ali will answer the ones that are quick and easy answers, and then if there are any that would be more in-depth that we want to cover as a group, there will be about 5 or 10 minutes at the end for a live Q&A session as well. And again, as I mentioned, you can access those past webinar recordings on our Vendasta content library or the YouTube playlist. So let's dive in and talk a little about automations. Nope, not audience Q&A. There we go. Automations. So what are automations? Well, in a nutshell, in Vendasta's platform, automations are tools that allow you to automate sales, marketing, and operational processes by mapping out personalized workflows. With automations, you can set specific triggers, like when a new client is added or a campaign email gets clicked, and you can define actions that should happen automatically, like assigning a salesperson or sending an email or creating a task. So this can streamline your business operations and reduces manual work, and overall just ensures consistent follow-up with your prospects and your clients. Now, there are three pieces to the anatomy of an automation, and I'm going to hop in here just to illustrate what those are. I'm going to hop into our test environment in Mountain Media here. As always, with our test environment, you have a peek behind the curtain and may see some things that are not live to you. I will call those out as I see them, but bear with us there. So in Partner Center, you can find your automations by going on the left-hand menu down to Automations, and then any that you have built will show up in My Automations, and I built this awesome test. So if we open this up, the three pieces of an automation that you can have are the trigger, the action steps, and then what we call logic steps. First, we'll start with the trigger. This is the inciting incident of your automation. Ali has just thrown a link there for a list of all the available triggers in the platform from our resource documentation. So if you want to check that out later, feel free to open in a new tab and just bookmark for future use. A trigger could be something as simple as a new contact is created. It can be something as simple as someone interacts with the web chat. A conversation happens in the web chat. And you can have multiple aspects to your triggers. So in this one, you can see I have built out when a contact is created, and I've added another condition, the contact's record source is the web chat. And so whenever a contact is created in my CRM and that record source is a web chat, because as you know, or hopefully know, our chat receptionist, when it collects customer information, will automatically add the customer to our contacts list in the CRM. So what I want this automation to do is whenever one of those leads comes in, it kicks off this automation. So the trigger has been set, and that's that green one up at the top. Then we have our action steps. These are the things that you want to happen. So for me, on this one, for instance, I wanted to notify an admin that a new lead has come in. I also wanted to assign a salesperson to that contact so that somebody's accountable for it. And finally, I wanted it to start an email campaign that I built out in the marketing section of Partner Center. You can build out campaigns, and then once they're built out and published, you can assign them to automations like this. So I've chosen my welcome and onboarding campaign. So when a new lead comes in, first, an administrator is going to be notified. Second, a contact is going, or a salesperson is going to be assigned to the contact. And thirdly, an email is going to start. The next type of action that we have is called a logic step. And this is usually a step where the automation will wait for a certain action to happen. And then depending on whether or not the action will happen, it will proceed in one of two ways. So I have a logic step here that's an if-else branch. And I'm it's not an if-else branch, it's a delay branch. So I've got it to delay until an event happens. So the email campaign is now running. And within 7 days, I've asked it if somebody clicks into the email. So I've specified the event is for this campaign, the email status is clicked. To me, that indicates that they're interested, and I would like them to pause the campaign so that they're not now that they've engaged with it, they're not getting a ton more emails encouraging them to engage with the contact. And I've created a CRM sales task for the contact so the salesperson knows what they have to do. And I've said the task is call the contact, and the task body will say, this contact is clicked into our welcome campaign, give them a call to set a face-to-face meeting. I assign it to the assigned salesperson. I say that it's due within 2 days, and I've set the task priority to high because this is a new lead that has just clicked into my email campaign. I want to make sure the salesperson is on top of this lead. And then the task type you can set as an email, a message, a call. I want them to call them because that voice on the phone is the best source of connection you can get for that first hot lead touch. And then finally, I want them to update the tags field. I've asked it to add a tag that calls it a hot lead. So then I, as an admin, can go and search my CRM by tag and look for all the hot leads that came in, and I can keep an eye on them. Now, the logic step has this delay until an event happens. If that never happens, if this contact doesn't click into the email after 7 days, I am going to have it update the contact again. And instead, I'm going to have it add a tag cold lead. This is somebody who didn't engage. So then I can search later, maybe in a couple months, oh, this is somebody who never engaged with us. Let's try them again with something else. So that's an idea, an overall general idea of how to use these 3 sections here. We've got the green triggers, we've got the blue action steps, and then we've got these kind of purpley lilac logic steps to build out an automation and save me a little bit of time in my workflow. Now, up here in the settings section, we want to make sure that we have our entry settings and our error handling steps set. For this particular email campaign automation, I don't want this to happen multiple times for contact. I'm just going to say only once per contact, so that for whatever reason, if they happen to come in again with the web chat, it's not going to send them the same email campaign. Then error handling steps. So if a step can't be completed due to an error, you can either just stop the automation run altogether, or you can skip that step and try to continue the automation run. So if for whatever reason there's a bug that prevents an admin from being notified, it won't stop it cold. It'll just skip on to the next step to make sure that the automation doesn't stop in its tracks. Finally, you can subscribe to error notifications down at the bottom, which I always recommend you do. If your automation stops working, you want to make sure that people on your team are made aware of that. And then you can view the activity for the automation, like how many times it's been run. Now, when you're ready to turn this automation on, it's very easy. You just click this toggle and toggle it on. Now, let's say after I've run the automation, I realize I forgot to add another step. I want to make sure I throw another notification to an admin if there's a cold lead. I have to first toggle the automation off, and then I can come in and make changes and add that step here. So we'll say notify an admin, and we'll make it that ABC training. Oh, and the message is cold lead. Put that whatever you'd like. Cold lead. This is required. Cold lead. Okay, fill in all the required steps and then save. And now I can turn that automation back on now that I've edited that step. Now, there are two schools of thought as to, how do I build an automation? How do I go about doing this? I've kind of built this one out already for our time here. And there are a number of ways to go about this. First and foremost, chances are there is an automation for what you have in mind in our templates. So if you go to automations and go to templates, you can look through some of our popular pre-built automations, like notify a salesperson of a new account or create a snapshot report when a form gets submitted. One of the ones I always recommend that partners turn on is notify your team about failed payments. If a client's credit card doesn't go through, you want to know about it so you can get on top of that and aren't losing out on your monthly recurring revenue. So if we click into this one, we can take a look at our action step and our trigger. So the trigger is when a user on an account makes a payment and it fails, the first action step is notify an admin. It's going to then notify the assigned salesperson, and it's going to create the failed payment follow-up with account sales task. So a very simple automation, but a very important one. And if you decide you want to use this template, you just click Use Template. It's going to open up that edit thing. If you see a yellow spot, it means that we have some, I guess it looks kind of orange on your screen, but we've got some steps we have to clarify. So which admin do we want to notify? We want to notify ABC training. And then the salesperson will be notified as whoever is the assigned salesperson. If you want to see what that task is going to look like, you can click it in here. The failed payment is follow up with account assigned to, and it's due in 3 days. And you can edit all of that, of course. When you're ready, when it's all good to go, you can toggle this on. Now, when you are making an automation from scratch, which is the second way of going about it, you want to make sure that you are asking yourself a few different questions before you just willy-nilly start automating everything. Firstly, what is it you're trying to accomplish? If you have a clear idea of what the automation is supposed to do, then that's going to help you choose not only your trigger, but your action steps as well. Next, as far as action steps go, what steps need to happen for what you're trying to do to be accomplished? And then finally, once you've got that list of steps in your workflow, take a look and see which ones can reasonably be automated. Again, we've got that list of automated triggers that Ali had put up there. There's another one in our resource center. You can get to it from that same link, and it's the list of automation action steps. So going over that complete list is a great way of just seeing what's all possible here. Now, let's say we've created an automation, and if you may find that all your automations default to untitled. What you're going to want to do is click Edit Details so that you can give it a title, so that you know what automation is for what. The other nice thing, so this is a test one, and you can also add a description that describes what exactly the goal of this automation is. And we have this handy little AI button that's going to read the automation that's built here and generate a description for you so that you don't have to worry about explaining what this automation is supposed to do. So if I click Generate, this automation trigger set is to execute a task to retrieve the associated company when a specific condition is met. It involves fetching company details based on account group data. So it's a pretty vague description because it's a pretty vague automation. But if we look at the one that I generated this morning for my awesome test that I did, Nathan's awesome test, I generated this morning. It triggers a notification to an admin when a new lead is acquired from a web chat, prompting them to contact the lead. It also initiates a campaign for the contact using a specified campaign ID. So pretty good description because I've got a lot of information in there. If I want to edit that, because I don't want to prompt the admin to contact the lead, prompting the assigned salesperson to contact the lead, because the AI did a good job, but it's always good to double check your AI's work. And then you get a nice overview of what this is supposed to do. So you can remind yourself, oh yeah, that's why I made that automation. Now, just going down my list, make sure I didn't miss anything. That is automations in Partner Center. And you will also notice that in Business App, you have access to automations for your clients to use. And in a lot of cases, they're going to be very similar. So let's go to our faithful rabbit groomers. There we go. And we'll open up our Business App. And just like your Partner Center ones, your clients can access their automations by scrolling down on our list here. Now I'm covering it up with my face, but just below the store here is automations, and you click on automations and click create automation, and you can see the same set of pre-built, and then the same workflow for making their own automations as well, adding your trigger, adding your action steps, and whatnot. Now that is a very high level, quick overview of building automations using the Vendasta platform. Obviously, this is a topic that could be dived into for hours, and we're not going to get into a lot of the specific use cases for automations today. However, we have another great series that I think you should all take advantage of. It's called Workflow Wednesdays. We have another one coming up next Wednesday. You can register for that using the link on the screen right now. So again, if you want to right-click that button and open it in a new tab, just so you have it, so you can register for that. It's my colleagues Arpit and Alistair are going to be presenting on an automation workflow next week. We also have, if you've missed Workflow Wednesdays, we have all the past Workflow Wednesdays on our YouTube channel, and you can click this button to check that out as well. Really, if you're interested in using automations, you want to see what's possible, I cannot recommend this series enough. And that is just about all I have to say on the subject. Now, do we have any questions from the audience?
Yeah, so we had one question that popped up that I didn't get a chance to answer just yet, and it would you create, wouldn't creating them in Partner Center rather than Business App mean they apply directly to the agency rather than the client? I'm wanting to create automations that are specific to clients and want to be able to copy them from one client to another.
Sure. So, that is a very good question. You're correct. If you're creating the automations in Business App, those are specifically for your client. However, and I know that this lives somewhere, and I'm going to be clicking around for a moment. I believe, is there not a Business App automations section, Haley, where they can set what automations show up in business? Maybe that's...
You manage it in that template section. So if we go to automations and the Business App, manage client templates in the top right-hand corner.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. So I clicked pretty fast there. We go to automations, we go to templates, manage client templates, and then you can create those client templates for your clients right here. So if your clients don't want to be building those automations and you'd like to just have them ready for your clients to use, build them out in here, and those ones will show up in Business App for them to be able to turn on. Thank you, Haley. Our fearless leader has joined us. And a very good question. Thank you for asking it. That is one thing I did forget to touch on. Any other questions today?
Let's see here. We've got one more. Is there a way to send newsletters using automations for our clients?
Yeah, so it'd be a very similar automation to the one that I created where I'm sending an email campaign. Essentially, you'd build out your newsletter in your marketing section of Partner Center. So if you have something like a newsletter, chances are you're going to have like you're going to want it to look the same kind of month to month, have the same template. So first, I'd recommend building out a newsletter template under email templates. You just click create email, and that opens our email builder. You can have your subject line. You can add blocks of rich text or buttons or images or banners or whatnot. So build out your newsletter template here. And then month to month, what you'll have to do is just to create a different campaign for each month. So if you've got your December newsletter coming out, you build your template as generic, and then you click create campaign. We create a new campaign as the December newsletter. And then we'd add an existing email. We'd pull that template. You could create a new email if you want, but again, you're going to save yourself a lot of time for something like a newsletter if you have a template. So you'd click add existing email, you'd select your newsletter template, and it would pop it in there as an email. And then from there, once that campaign was published, once you've got the email in there and you've designed it for December and put your December content in, you click publish, and then you can create an automation. I mean, you could create an automation for it. In this case, I don't think you'd need to, because in this case, it would just be just as easy then to go to your CRM, go to your contacts, select all your contacts, and just add them to the campaign. So for something like a newsletter, you can create an automation, but there's still manual work you have to do, and it's not much more manual work to just go in here, select your contacts, click actions, and click add to campaign. From there, you would, if it ever shows up, come on. Okay, well, my platform's not, oh, here we go. We click add to campaign. I'd select my November or my December newsletter campaign, and then I could send it out. Now, one thing that you will want to make sure that you have done before you send any kind of emails, and again, this is very important to remember, is under marketing, you want to go to email settings, and you're going to have to connect your business domain. So you can see our custom domain here for our junk thing is abc.businessmail.ai, but that would be your domain. So if your company was A1 Marketing, it would be a1marketing.com. So you click use my own email domain, and then it would generate a bunch of DNS records, and it's important that those get installed on your email domain so that when you send emails, it's coming from your trusted domain and not from a SendGrid that nobody's ever heard of, and will be likely to end up in your spam filters. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Ali, but I believe you covered that in a previous session of the overall Partner Center setup, and that can be found in our YouTube channel as well. So yeah, click there, and under Partner Center branding and setup, I think it was. I think the second one we did, we talk a little bit more about email settings. We went down a bit of a rabbit hole there, but in answer to your question, you could automate a newsletter. I would recommend for something like a newsletter where you're having to create the content every month and it's different. Don't bother with an automation. Just create your template, add it to a campaign, and then add all the people you want to send it to the campaign.
All right, that's everything. There's no more questions.
Right. Well, we will let you guys go then. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was a real pleasure. This is the last Training Tuesday we're going to be holding for the year 2025. We will likely be back in 2026 with some brand new topics, but we're going to give our team a well-deserved break for the month of December. I hope all of our American partners have a happy Thanksgiving next week, and for those that I don't see before, have a very merry holiday season as well. And take care. And yeah, thank you for joining us.